I want to talk about injectors. Obviously the standard injector that's in the car at the moment won't be capable of flowing the amount of fuel I'm going to need it to flow to run boost. Obviously with boost you have more air and more oxygen available, and you need to couple that with more fuel, otherwise you run the risk of having a lean condition inside your cylinder, raising the temperature and possibly killing your engine. So either way, this is the injector I'm planning on using. It's an RC550, that's 550 cc's injector, and this is what it looks like. I got it second hand, but I have actually had it flow tested, hence why I've got these little labels. So it's been tested at 550. One of the injectors, this one, was originally not okay, but it's actually been cleaned out. Oh no, it's this one. This one, not okay. It was running at 300cc originally, and then basically had it cleaned out with the airline and cleaned through with the fluid, and then it flowed 550. So luckily I did actually get these all checked. Apparently there was something, some debris in this one, but anyway, it's been fixed now. I'm still waiting on the filters, so I've actually bought a set of proper filters for these things, and you can actually see, I don't know if you can, these are a little bit kind of gummed up. Well, not gummed up, but you can see that they're not in great condition. So I've got a whole new set of these little mini baskets to go in there. I've actually got some new O-rings as well, and I'll show you that once they arrive. They're any day now, but they got them from America, which is why there's such a delay on it. But either way, I can actually continue a bit of work on this, because I need to change from the original K-hin style ejector connector to this Bosch mini power style, junior power style connector. You see here, this is one that came on these injectors, but I don't really fancy reusing what they've done here because they're a bit mangled, and one of them has been cut so short you'd be unlikely to be able to do much with it. So yeah, I'm not going to try and solder to that or anything. So instead I bought this set. They're quite inexpensive anyway, but it's a brand new connector, brand new electrical connections, and these little boots that go over the wire. So that's the idea. Cut off the old Honda K-hin style, slide that over, slide these two little boots over the wires, then crimp this connector on. You can see here, so the first bit is to hold the actual wire, and the second bit at the back is actually to hold against the insulation of the wire to stop the whole thing coming off. And this is the bit that holds on to the actual connector inside the injector. So if you look here, it's got these little pins. So that little connector slides over to the pin, and that's how it goes on. So once you've put that all in, then you can just clip these into the back, and this connector has this little kind of trapdoor, and that slides over and stops any of this kind of backing out. But the other thing that stops it backing out is once you push it in. So if I show you this one that's actually been done, this is the kind of empty connector. The actual shape of the connector, once you push it in, stops the whole thing backing out. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see here I've got all of the kit to actually do the job. I'm going to need to go outside and cut the old injector plugs off, and then it doesn't really matter which side is positive, which side is negative, because it's just a solenoid essentially, the injector is. But I'm just going to do it in the same way as the Honda had it. So I'll show you that outside. But this clip just goes on here. Turn it over, can't get my hands on it. Right, this clip goes on here. Like that. And that's it in the rail. And it's the left hand side one, which would be for your positive, and the right hand side would be for the negative. So if I look on this, which is my new connector, you flip it over and you can see 1 is positive and 2 would be negative. That's how I'm going to do it, so it will be exactly the same configuration as the K was. That's just so I can make sure it's easy for me to figure the whole thing out. First of all, I'm just going to come along and unclip each of these injectors. And there's one, clip this IAT as well. And I can drag this whole bit of the wiring loom out a bit and have some space to work on it. That's the KN style Honda OEM, and this will be how the RC550 goes in. So again, you can see on the left hand side there, I have the plug, it's power, and the right hand side there is the ground. I'll do exactly the same here. So this side is going to be power, this side is going to be ground. First of all, just disconnect the battery. You don't need to disconnect that, just the power will do it. And then these are all the tools you should need. Snips, pliers, and some wire strippers. So snips obviously to cut the old connectors off, the wire strippers to strip back some fresh wire, and these little pliers just to, was what I use anyway, just to bend round and crimp everything. So let's go ahead, snip snip. Just cut the connector off for injector 4. I've left a little bit of length on here just in case for whatever reason I need these again, but I don't want to cut too much and cause myself issues. Now don't forget these, as you won't be able to do anything about it later. I'm going to slip this big boot over the whole thing and then slip these and turn that way up the wires. So first of all, I've slid that boot up there. I've got these little connector jobbies, little boots or whatever, they're slid up in place. And now we can go ahead and strip up some wire. So just to give you an understanding how much wire you need to strip back, if you place it in like that, you can see it's not actually very much wire. Don't go stripping it right the way back to there. Just strip a bit out. You'll need to get in connection in this top bit, so you're probably talking about 3 or 4 millimeters. Right, that should be enough. The first stage of the process, I'm just going to fold that leg down on the insulation and then fold the other leg down, and that means that the wire can't move, and then you can concentrate on just crimping that bit of copper there at the end. Okay, that's the other bit crimped onto the insulation. Now I'm just going to crimp the other two in exactly the same way, just making sure you don't lose any of those wires so they don't poke out. Okay, that's the third stage. That part of the leg crimped over and the wires hanging out of it, and the last one just crimp that down. Okay, that's done. And now move on to the other one. One quick intermediate step is if you just use a little fine screwdriver, flathead, just make sure those wires are pressed down before flicking them over, so that the this part of the connector touches those copper wires. So there we have 2 of the crimped wires. Those little white things still up there. Now just make sure you put them the right way around. So like I said, this is going to be the positive, this side. So that's this yellow wire, and all of the grounds are the yellow with the black wire, regardless of which one you're talking about. You see it's the same wire throughout of the injector loom. Right, so this wants to be this way around, with this being the positive. That's how I'm doing it anyway. So you can see here the thick part of this little connector. So you can see that should be the same as the one I'm going to put in. So anyway, they'll only clip in, I think, one way around. So try and have them like that. So this might be a better description actually. So here's number 1, number 2 with that little clip at the back, and this is how we need to plug them in. So of course it's like that, with this thicker bit to the right hand side as you push it in. So it should just pop down in here. And this is the other one, so you see the thicker bit on the right, if that even makes any sense. And this should just push down, should do a click. There you go, that's the click. Right, now I can get these two little white things out of here. This one, and that should just clip in. Right, that's in there like that. That looks right. That's in there like that. That's in there like that. And then just put this over the two. There we go. Just me to have the biggest issue on the easiest bit. Anyway, that's there like that, and then this bit here, I'm hoping just clips in. Yeah, there you go. Wow. Okay. Whew. So that is it, and that all looks pretty good. That's all secure. It's not going anywhere. It's all clipped in nicely, and then this little boot thing. Let's just make sure it's like it'll be that way round as it goes in, so obviously I want this thing facing up if anyone was ever going to bother looking at it. So there you go, that's there like that, and that is a fully wired in Bosch style connector. So that looks all very neat, and now I just need to repeat that another 3 times and I'll show you what it looks like when I've done so. Right, that's the end result, all nice and neat, all correctly done. This is the IAT still. I'll just put some more tape on them to make it look a bit cleaner. These are the stock little insulation bits, and this is the boot that came with the kit, and that's going to be lovely. Obviously I still need to change the injectors out the rail. Today I'm going to be doing the RC injector filter or mini filter removal, and I've got this tool. This is from a Porsche spares place. You see here, it's actually a very simple device, and you could probably try and do it without this, but if I go anti-clockwise, you see this thread. It's just like a normal screw really, reveals itself, and as you wind it back in, the thread disappears. On the other end you have a little device for seating the injector bucket after you've taken it out. So it's really simple. All you do is you wind it out like that, maybe not even that far. You get your injector, you just wind this into the bucket itself. You need to make sure you've got at least a thread in. You can feel it get tight, don't go any much more than that. And then you can just wind it against it. And just make sure you hold the injector as you do it. I think that's it. So you see the injector hat is in there, and that is nicely removed. So then you can just get your old injector hat back. So you just need to hold on to it and screw kind of anti-clockwise with the thing. There's the old hat, put that to one side, you don't need that anymore. And then this is a kit I got from America, although I think you could probably get it from lots of different places. You need to get the little hat back out of there, open it up. This is the new little filter. I'm just going to place it into the end of the injector. Okay, so just off camera I just got a hammer, put it in a plastic bag so not to get any crap from the hammer on there, and just tapped it home, and you can see now it's completely flush. I'll do the same again with the tapping to show you what I mean. So I've got the new filter bucket here in the injector, place it in like that. A hammer, plastic bag, just tap it in. It's kind of halfway home there, and then you can hear the noise changes, and that's fixed, that's done. So then now I've got the rest of these seals in this kit, and there's no seals apart from this one on the top here, so take that one out, and you've kind of got an option between the black seals and the green seals. Just need to change these injectors, the stock ones, K-hins, and I'm going over to the RC550s. You see here, this is an AEM fuel rail. I've got these AN6 flexible lines here, which are Teflon. I've just got 3 10mm. I'm just about seeing 1, 2, and 1 over the side there, 3. And then the whole rail will come back, and because these aren't hard lines, I can do it without disconnecting. I should be able to. So I'm just going to do that. 3 10mm are removed, and then you can just pull this back and get that injector wiring out of the way. See, all of the injectors are loose, and then I can just go kind of right left while pulling them out. That's all of those standard K injectors out. Just make sure the filter hats come with them, and they're gone. So obviously it's raining because it's England, and I'm going to have to wait a sec. Okay, I've changed my mind about which way I'm going to set the whole thing up. I'm going to need to reuse these little O-rings I've got off the old injectors, and these little rubber stoppers or whatever. I'm not going to use the new seals because they're already in the manifold and they look fine. I'm not going to use these big seals at the bottom, because if you look, there's actually nowhere for them to seat. They'd just be out on their own if they were in there like that. So that's how I'm going to do it. Let's see how I get on. Okay, so here's one in there, and this is the old, or the one I took from the K-in O-ring, and the same band, nothing on the bottom, going straight in there. Let's see how it goes. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but you need some distance. You need some spacer between there and there, otherwise that will catch on the this connector will catch on the hat there, on the rail there. Right, that's all of them in, and then I'm just going to try and push them into those holes there, tighten the whole thing down. So that's all of them in. I've got a bit of a space back here, and that will just push these in. So let's get the bolts started and just push these in. All the bolts threading up now. I'm just going to use a hand tool, 10mm, and just do them all up evenly, and it will just push them in. It wasn't working really well. I'm just going to push in the seals. So what I'm going to try and do is try the other seals I've got in the bag, and cover them in silicone, and hopefully we'll just slide in. Right, so it hasn't really worked out trying to push it in like that, which has actually worked in the past for me when I was using stock injectors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck all of these new seals out that I've put in there, put them onto the injectors and try and push it in like that after lubricating it, and see if that works. Right, so the O-rings are on each of the ends here, and I've cleaned out the actual holes I need to go in. Just put some little bit of oil on the seals, and let's see if I can just slip these in. So that didn't really work, so what I've gone and done is changed back to the lower seals being the ones that were originally in the manifold, but this time it's got a bit of oil on them. So now, with that said, let's see if I can slide them in. Finally, they look like they're actually going. I'm going to get the 3 bolts in for the rail, and hopefully that'll just squish them down. So that's all in there now. Not really sure if it's that right, but the injectors are certainly in there, and the rail's tightened down. yeah, that's kind of the best I can do at the moment. So we'll see if we have any issues with that afterwards. But for now, I can just go ahead and plug the air and temperature sensor in there. Okay, that's all the plugs installed. We'll see if it works.